Hello all, this is Battitz bringing you another RUSE replay. This is a ranked 1v1 between myself and my opponent Socialist Marxman, who went as Italians and I started as the Americans. I found this match at about 4:30 in the morning and found it within seconds, and I was so disconcerted by this that I ended up making 4 supply depots rather than my normal 3, so I shoot myself right in the beginning because I'm unable to put out a infantry barracks right away. That's what through this little. My opponent, Socialist Marxman, starts out with a very early barracks, and he makes a decoy army, which I was not aware was a decoy army at the time. Then he also creates, I believe, 5 light tanks to send on my left flank, while his decoy army goes around my right. And it's a fairly short replay, but I'm wanting to keep it in one video if at all possible. So we have our initial start positions here, and Blitz is a really small map, and I believe the name Blitz is very deserving, because that's usually what happens on this map. One side will blitz and the other usually get taken away. At this point, I'm worried about his right army going to either attack my starting HQ or possibly take over my supply depots, so I send out an anti-tank truck to deploy. I was initially going to deploy it here, but then I decided to deploy it further to the right because I thought his units were going to come through this town region instead of all the way through the right. So I deploy this and his units end up stopping, so I'm like, oh cool, I deterred that attack. And then my scouting jeep finds the 5 light tanks on my left, so I go to deploy an armor base real quick. Yeah, damn ZERRRRGs. So I deploy my armor base, and I'm thinking at the time, oh, he's gonna try and go through this bridge that I kind of forgot about was there. So I'm thinking he's gonna go through the bridge and try and attack my HQ or come behind here. And then he attacks my armor base. So I'm like, shit. So rather than researching Shermans as I normally would, I managed to get 2 Lees out extremely quick before my armor base goes down. And I get my other anti-tank bunker deployed, so that turns him back, so he goes back around this way. I put radio silence down so I can not let my enemy be aware of what I'm up to. So, having got my first armor base blown up, I quickly make a second, and this time I have enough time to research Shermans, since Lees have a 1 attack rating against armor units, so that's pretty bad. His right flank staying put. He makes an artillery and anti-air base. For what purpose, I'm not sure. Possibly to get artillery to bombard my buildings later or something. I don't know. He starts putting infantry in these woods along with 1 light tank. This is he only has the 1 scouting infantry, so that's his only line of sight. Go here, so you can't see anything I have right now because he only has the one recon infantry. So his tanks have to just kind of sit here and wait. This is where he starts sending up some kind of building truck to make something. But I honestly didn't want to find out what, so I'm trying to send my tanks to take it out, but they're just kind of like, no, we don't feel like doing that right now. And then they finally get going. And my Jeep had seen his tanks starting to come across the bridge, so I retreated that. managed to get his truck and pull my Lees back while I finally get some Shermans out to reinforce my tanks. I was hoping he would move his tanks in close enough to these woods where my GIs could ambush his tanks, but he sees my Shermans coming in. He retreats wisely. Doesn't save his tanks though, because I just chase him. And I start moving out my jeeps to make sure I can see what's in this forest, because I'm pretty sure it'll have something there. So I start moving them out momentarily to give me some line of sight on that, and I keep pumping out Shermans to continue this advance I have on him, pushing him back from my base. I think it was around this time, or a minute or so ago, that I discovered that that was a decoy on me, because my anti-tank bunker destroyed his fake tanks. Here I'm just moving in with my Shermans and Lees to take out his remaining light tanks, and he managed to get down a 90mm anti-tank position. So I gotta switch my aim from the tanks to his tank position real quick. He tries sneaking a unit through this town, which won't do well for him. Here he actually sends real infantry to harass my supply depots and my right flank, but I'm not even really paying attention to that at the moment. So I managed to take out his anti-tank position and still pushing in on these light tanks here. I spotted his infantry here with my jeeps, so set my tanks to them instead. Start moving some infantry around his left flank just in case he tries something there, or to press my advantage later on. But one thing I really don't see people doing enough is using recon. Jeeps for the Americans I use just because they are cheap and they're pretty fast, so they can get away from units like chasing them. And they have a long range of sight, as most recons do. Put up an anti-tank base, so I'm getting rid of that very quickly. And my tanks are close enough here that they can just take out his headquarters, so I just leave them there to take that out, because once that goes down, he does not have a secondary, which was a big mistake on his part in my opinion. So once that's done, it's like basically GG in my mind. So I lost like 3 or 4 tanks there, but honestly if I'd lost the whole column, I think it would have been worth it. But armored recon, going back to the subject of recon, the French armored recon from their prototype base is nuts. It is basically a tank that can go in the woods and can spot anything. So that's been the faction I've been messing around with lately. They're pretty damn good, if I do say so. I don't know how the French just got decimated in World War II if they had that. I don't know. So here I go to capture his remaining buildings, but he puts out some light tanks, so I just have to settle with taking his artillery and anti-air base, and the rest of my infantry get moved down. Here I'm starting to send in infantry to counter these anti-tank guns he's sent out, so my Shermans don't get annihilated. And start taking them out, and right before he captures his building back, he surrenders, which I didn't really get, because he could have gotten some more points and they'd scored close enough. But that was the replay. Quick little game. This was a ranked match, so I think we're both around level 13, 14. So it's a good match. Overview analysis. And hope you enjoyed it. Comments, suggestions, anything you'd like to see. Alright, enjoy.